and this is the print. Yeah, feel it. Okay.
Sandpaper.
Yeah, yeah. There's a slightly. And the richer it is, the more one can feel it. Okay. And this, I wouldn't want to try to parse this. This was layer after layer after layer of different things. But all the basic techniques like aqua tinting and open biting and just layer after layer after layer, which is how a tonal plate kind of develops. So the important thing is to get the right amount of spray or rosin on your plate.
Is that the consistency?
Yeah, is that
I think that's pretty close to what I would count on. As I say, it's a little spotty in places, but I think it would be okay. You don't want much more than that, that's for sure. And then you would, the way it works is that you stop out with any of our grounds, anything that you want to be white. That's the first step. And then you etch. I'm going to top off the acid later on this afternoon, so it'll be more of it and be stronger, because it's kind of evaporated off quite a bit. But you need to know what causes what to happen, right? So either individually or maybe sort of collectively decide to sort of do a test plate and sort of just so you have an idea of what 5 minutes does, what 10 minutes does, what 40 minutes does. Okay. And then each time you take the plate out of the acid, you run water over it, let it dry, and then stop out the tone that you want to freeze at that point. You just keep on going. Some printmakers advise that when you get to a kind of, like say after 25 or 30 minutes, that you take methyl hydrate and you clean the spray off. It won't touch the ground, and respray to get a more consistent surface for really darks. Okay, because if you bite this for too long, I told you what happens. It kind of collapses as a structure. You know, like the little columns of metal get so long that they finally just break down. Whereas if you clean it off at about 2/3 of the way through and respray, you get a different kind of structure and it's stronger, and you get really, really dark.
That's what you used to call a spray paint.
Spray it with methyl hydrate. It won't touch the ground. The ground comes off with paint there. All right. And I do want you to consider the problem to be one that doesn't extend the image that you presented at first grip, but rather transform it. Right? So turn it up, turn it on its end or whatever, you know, and just try to kind of, I don't want you to erase it first. I want you to bite through it and just kind of reorganize your rectangle. And I would like you to experiment with things like scraping and burnishing. I want you to experiment with things like layering, right? So you do one thing and you clean it off and you start all over with something else, so that the acquaintance start to cover each other up in different, more painterly ways instead of just this reductive kind of way that always subtractive like that.
Should we do the kind of like biting first and then etching?
I'm not sure I understand what you
How would we be like kind of working with this to create or add to an image or whatnot?
Oh, well, you just etch it and print it, and then either reaquatint or go at it with scrapers and burnishers and just kind of manipulate it around that way, and then a layer something on top of it.
So we would be etching it first?
Yes, yes. Yeah. You etch it multiple times. The thing you have to be careful of, and what happened with a couple of people, you know, the first problem, is that it's very, very easy to obliterate by putting a layer over top of the first layer. Sometimes what was in the first layer gets lost that way. You want it to be an additive kind of thing, instead of the plate always kind of becoming less. Soft ground you can use as a tonal device as well. It doesn't all have to be aquatinted, right? You can open bite, which is say, for example, if I, well, that's what was going on in here. Like for some of these areas up here, there was a kind of consistent kind of aquatin throughout with stop outs and things like that. And then I'd stop out some of the shapes and let the other kinds of shapes go and sort of erase, and then kind of would aquatint again. And so you can get it build quite a complex structure that way by layering different states. It depends on your image and how tied to the image that you are. Any questions?
Could you show us the whole thing where you're talking about using the paint almost?
What?
There was one where you're saying you'd like could paint on like the
Oh
image.
yeah, that's kind of that's Maria's been doing some of that. I would like you to get the hang of just basic aquatinting before you do that. But that's what these are. These are lip ground aquatints, which uses. Is there any open in the studio, Maria? Any of that condensed milk? Or is it all used up?
This is the example.
Okay, that's good.